Hey, so as promised, I'm listening to loud heavy metal music and I can't hear what I'm saying. So this video is answering questions about time travel, specifically asked by Tara. She asked what the flicker rate of the universe is and what it means. The flicker rate of the universe is essentially infinite. The Mayans would take a period of time and they would divide it by 13, and then they would divide that by 13, they would divide that by 13, they would divide that by 13, they divide that by 13, they divide that by 13. So what you call a moment, they would call infinity. Hi, Jedwiga. So essentially, time can be divided into nearly infinite amounts of measurement units. So the flicker rate is nearly infinite. You could say infinite. You could say that all of reality is essentially one piece of matter which is bouncing around at the speed of infinity, creating everything that we see, because we know that most of what our reality is not actually matter, that it's really energy, that we're made of stars, like who's that guy? Carl Sagan said. So the flicker rate is nearly infinite, and the flicker rate is the vibration of the energy, or one molecule, which is God, flicking around what we perceive as the entire universe or whatever, or the earth, faster than you could ever comprehend. But the Mayans did, because they took that moment and they divided that by 13, 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 they divided that by 13. And then you're talking about fast. That's fast. What's up, Andrew? So if you want to talk about fast, you got to think small. Think big. But if you want to talk about time, you want to talk about efficiency, you want to talk about speed and perfection, you want to get it down to the decimal point, and that's what you do with time and the flicker rate of the universe, which is, the projector is working at an infinite rate, and that's why it's desirable to be able to talk fast at times, or to be able to type fast at times, or to be able to do anything fast. We celebrate fast, we don't celebrate slow, because that's efficient, and it can literally change. Does a cheetah perceive time the same way that a two-toed sloth does? I don't know, but time is meaningless to me. It's easy for me to say I'm a stay-at-home dad that is an expert in the paranormal. All right, so that's your flicker rate of the universe. But when you say universe, we'll get into that later, but a universe, what is a universe? Is it the multiverse? Talk about other universes. You can't call it the universe, because uni means one. Unless you take that one, you divide it by 13, you divide it by 13, you divide it by 13, you divide it by 13. Or multiply. Either way, it's not one. Like, I'm a universe, I'm a star, I'm in orbit. There are things that orbit around me. We orbit around each other, Like, we're connected electromagnetically, energetically, bioenergetically, on a level, like a subatomic level, on a X-ray level, on every level. I'm only going to talk when the music's on, so I want to go to the next song here. Next question. Is time travel more easily achieved via a portal in the mind, via a stargate, via a wormhole, and what's the difference? Well, as I said about the flicker rate and everyone being connected, which is true, The portal and the mind. My minister says I have a window in my mind into the mind of God, which is how I know things that people aren't supposed to know. I don't know why she said that, but she certainly didn't do it because I put $1 million in the donation plate because I don't have any money. So, but she said I have a window in my mind into the mind of God. So when it comes to a portal in the mind, yeah, I have a portal in my mind, a portal between me and other people that we've created through feedback and through exercises and just by having a relationship and a connection. A stargate, you'll have to define stargate, but I imagine you're talking about a physical object like in the movies where you can enter it and then you're going from here to Mars in like the blink of an eye. And I've heard about people doing that at a jump station. Some guy, I don't know who he was. Wormhole. I had a UFO over my house about 4 months ago. Walked out front. Snow out, so it was in winter, late winter. And I saw a UFO. It looked just like the one on my profile picture that I saw back on October 20th, 2 days before I got abducted and time traveled. And where I time traveled to was actually to the house that I'm in now. That's where I first saw this house. I didn't even know it existed. I didn't even know it was for sale. In another video, I'll show you exactly what happened in that sequence, but that's not relevant right now. Wormhole. So I saw this black plane flying across the sky at a weird height. Never seen another plane like it. And that's what made me even notice the UFO to begin with. So I got my camera, I tried to take a picture, and I couldn't take a picture because it didn't want me to take a picture of it. It was like, no. So then I took a picture of where it disappeared into, and I'll post that in the comments, and I'll link it into the whatever here, into the video. And it's a wormhole. The UFO disappeared into a wormhole. So the question becomes, am I a UFO? You know? And at some level of science, all of us leave, you know. It's like the story of the ghost on the beach, the widow's ghost. She's wandering the beach back and forth, waiting for her husband to return to her. She walked that so much that that's where she is. There's pieces of her left behind there. You know, she like ingrained into the friggin' matrix, into the plasma, into the God stuff that the universe is truly created from, in the mind of God. And that's where we all are. So is the portal in the mind that I have allegedly got between my mind and God the same as a physical stargate, or the same as on a larger scale, the wormhole, which I saw the UFO go into, which got chased by that black aircraft? I'd say it's the same and it's different. Next song. She asks if machines are needed to time travel. The human body is the most sophisticated machine that I know of, and the way that our science is advancing right now, we can clone people. I'm sure that they've cloned people, positive. I'm sure that they've combined DNA from other animals together. I'm sure they've added some electronics into people. I mean, even as simple as a pacemaker, we know this. For chronic pain, they can put like a node in the back of your head with wires coming out of it. And I was offered that, and I was like, no, I'm not going to have wires sticking out of my head, you know? But whatever. So I think there probably are machines that can enhance the ability of people who do time travel and who do have various paranormal, telekinetic, telepathy abilities of the mind, body, soul connection that machines can enhance. And I think that just like stress can accentuate your DNA and upgrade your DNA, and it's been proven. You know, that's why like the inner cities, the vibe is so bad, right? Because their DNA is majority different there to begin with. It's at a different vibration, and it's the hive mind, you know? They become tribal. And then when it's tribal and unstable, becomes a conflict. So they live in perpetual conflict, so violence to them and the consequences of violence have no value at all. By the same token, for 2 years, I'm not going to talk a lot about myself right now, but for 2 years, I was basically living halfway into my subconscious. Like Jim Morrison said, I live in the subconscious, you know, and I actually believe him. I think Jimi Hendrix did too, because Jimi Hendrix said, if I die, don't bury me for 3 days because I might be astral traveling. It's important differentiation to make. So the human body, my point is, can be upgraded not only by human interaction or, you know, angelic or extraterrestrial interaction, of which I've had plenty, but also just by the experiences of life itself. And if you become the people you hang out with, right? Well, for 2 years I was mostly by myself, as far as not being around like my peer group, and I had UFOs and extraterrestrials all around me. And you guys know my girlfriend or whatever from my profile picture that I don't have up right now, and you see the dude I have in my profile picture right now, which is the Nimitz UFO, which was at my house when I time traveled 2 days before I time traveled. It was there October 20th 2017, and I photographed it and the F-22 Raptor, which was chasing it. But that's classified, but I didn't take any oath. But I know that it's a classified date, and they said it was 2004, and they gave a location, and if that was true, they wouldn't have given it. Plus, it was on CNN, and I know they lie. All right, so I say the human body is all that you really need. Merkaba activation. The Merkaba, she explained, as being like the ether or the light body, the spirit, the astral body, essentially, of a person. I died in 2002. I heard my own flatline. It was horrible. When you die, when your heart stops, there's a chemical reaction that happens within your body. Every one of your cells emits a bunch of electricity. What'd you see, Andrew? When you die, when your heart stops, your body, every cell in your body emits, like, it has like an orgasm. Every cell has an orgasm of energy, an electromagnetic convulsion. A sneeze, an orgasm, and death are all convulsions. So, sex magic exists for that reason. It's by the same token, the Germans, when they were channeling the IFI on TV, the UFO on TV, yeah, the Nimitz UFO, that's my profile picture. It's the same exact, it's a screenshot, that the one that's in my profile picture right now is literally, with no color added by me except for the words, it's the Nimitz UFO. And I took several screenshots, and I was able to get him looking right at me. His eyes are diamond shaped, like the old gods statues. I can't fucking do it with one hand, but next song. Yeah, so the Nimitz UFO, you want to see what it really looks like? I have the best picture that you're going to find. You can look everywhere on the internet, and I encourage you to. So you can be like, hey, this John guy, or you can call me a liar, and I can find a way to do it on video where I take the freaking picture and analyze it just with my iPhone. I did use my iPhone to make it look how it looks in my profile picture. It's real. Swear to God. So activating the Merkaba. If my Merkaba got activated, it was when I died. So that's kind of a sore subject. But when they woke me up from my coma, they were like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Leave me alone. I'm going to college." And then I went back into my coma. So maybe I went to the invisible college, went somewhere, learned something. God was like, he's like, you can't die. I'm going to use you. You know, you just walked into my world and now you're screwed. You know, like that song Heathens. Now you're one of us. You feel that? I'm busy. Dawn, I'm making a video. Whatever.
That's not his phone. Can you give me that?
So if my Merkaba was activated or that electricity was released into my body, which it was, when I died, it wasn't intentional. That movie Flatliners, where they're intentionally dying so that they can go and change things, or they see things and they have to change it. It's very dark, and those activities really happen. It's also shown in the Dr. Frankenstein movie that's on Netflix, the origin of those experiments and the way that they are able to revive people and the way that they revived me, most likely. It's not just electricity, and I don't really want to talk about it besides that, but you can watch that. You can watch the Dr. Frankenstein series. Do you think that's part of where God took the sting of death away? I think that when I say I'm immortal, what I'm really saying is that I've already died. I've already tasted death. It holds no sway over me whatsoever. I don't care about it at all. It doesn't exist, and I know it. Before I died, I realized part of my age of my soul. We had this book of Egypt, King Tut's tomb, and every day I saw that, and I was like, and I would look at it, and I was just a little kid, and I remember looking at it and just, I don't know. But yeah, I figure I'm about 450,000 years old. A little older than that, but about 450,000 years old. And it's funny, when I first said 450,000 years old, I said, well, I would say 450 million years old, but that just sounds too old. But then I found out that in Canada, they found some algae that's 5 billion years old, or 500 million years old. And I was like, hey, I was pretty close. And the star that I thought I was from turned out to be about 450,000 years old, too. It's either Alpha Centauri or Alpha Reticuli, or the Crux. The Crux. I always forget the name of the Crux. So activating your Merkaba is not a good time. What's up, Michelle? So, well, we're talking about the Merkaba and dying and flatliners. You got to think about the heroin addicts, that they're not afraid to die. They're like overdosing intentionally, which is like obviously a bad idea. But they don't care, and it's not because it's most likely it's because they're in pain. It's because their addictions probably cost them most of the things in their life that they value. But it's not like they found some kind of like enlightenment. It's because they're in a stupor, Like I wonder about long-term alcoholics when they're just drunks for like 50 years and then they die. When they die, are they drunk? Do they stay in a drunken state? Is that what's good for them? Or do they stay dead until they become sober and then they reincarnate to like try consciousness again? So that's some information on Merkaba activation. I do not recommend it. I took the path of death and
Daddy.
rebirth, and it's not recommended. It's like Russian roulette. It's stupid. I'm making a video.
Meow. What's that?
I'm busy.
Meow.
I got like 6 more questions to do.
Dance storm.
Why Merkaba different activate? Yeah, I'm sure many of them activate differently, but not everyone is supposed to have these abilities. Not everyone is supposed to be able to time travel and astral travel, because I don't care about living or dying. I'm not afraid of death, and your fear of death is what keeps you going to work and paying your bills, your social standing, When I died, I lost all of that. They took everything. They took my life. They said, oh, you don't appreciate your life? Well, it's gone. You're nothing to us. They said, forget about John, he's gone. Okay? I lost everything. And I went into the darkness. And I had to find my way through the darkest ether, the most psychic abilities you wouldn't even want to know. Telling people what's going to happen, they don't listen, then it happens, and they blame you because you remind them of what happened to them. Soul technology? Yeah, of course there's soul technology. I mean, you can get it in different ways. Like PTSD in our soldiers is the opposite of meditation, right? But if we as a society, if the people who meditated were actually enlightened, then wouldn't they be trying to reach out to the soldiers that have PTSD and using their enlightenment for something that was useful? So I have no respect. I respect individuals, but meditating doesn't impress me. Going to war impresses me. So yeah, there's soul technology. There's pictures of me astral traveling. If I was going to be pie in the sky right now, I'd say there's a picture of me over California, and I'm all multicolored, and I look almost exactly like the guy in my profile picture, who may be Enki, which is another name for God. Or, as my Christian friend said, it could be the devil, and it was fallen angels that took me through time. How do you work through lower frequencies? If you, what do we have for internet? We have Wi-Fi, but what do we have? We have broadband. It's not a single, and I have a picture to show you guys to illustrate some of this. But the low frequencies, your red chakra, your primal, your genitals and stuff, and then your orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet, I mean, I took the shungite before. I drank some shungite. Actually, I just threw it in my mouth and then washed it down because it tasted really salty. But shungite's a meteor. Yeah, I think that's where God took the death sting away, though. We're made of stars, so why shouldn't I eat a meteor from Russia? I eat it every day. So when you work with the low frequencies, do you want to have the full experience? Or are you afraid of it? Are you afraid of the full experience? Because I'm not. I have no fear. It's not always a good thing. It can make me seem a little reckless and unpredictable, but really, I'm probably the most predictable person in the world if people would just take me at my word. If they would learn that I'm the most honest person that they're ever going to meet, and they'd stop trying to figure me out and just take me at face value, then they'd understand me. And the low frequency, I've been low. I've been so low. But I've seen the most beautiful things in the world. I've seen the future. I've seen angels. I've been on crafts. I've been able to travel with my Merkaba. Maybe that's what that rainbow thing is in that picture. You know, when I say the guy in the picture is my dad, you know, I say I'm Ningazita and that's Enki. Maybe it's true. Thoth is Ningazita. But it's not about me right now. So how do you work through the lower frequencies? You just embrace them. You don't resist. Don't resist. No, it sounds easy, but just don't resist the low frequencies. It's just part of life experience, and the less you resist it, the more it just becomes part of the background. It just, you know, it's everything. Instead of being like, oh, I'm fighting the low frequencies, I'm fighting them, I don't like the situation, I'm fighting it. You're stuck there. You want to be up here, right? But you can be here. You can be here at an infinite rate. Faster than the flicker rate of the universe. That's my hand, right? I'm fast. But that's from the full broadband, the full bandwidth. Multidimensional, same as other universes. Again, a universe implies one universe. Multi-dimensions depends how you define dimensions. I made the picture, I'll show you that. Is the force field the same as a soul field? Everyone has a force field which is generated from their heart. If people live in a fight or flight, like in the city where the energy is really bad and you got people fighting, they're in their fight-flight, they're in their mind, they're in their primitive reptilian mind. That's what the reptilian mind is. But the higher mind, when you're at peace and you're not afraid, then your heart, which is 65% neural cells, it's called the second brain. It is a brain. Your heart's a brain. If you're not afraid and you're at peace, then you can activate your heart. And your heart, that energy is part of what you think through, and it generates a force field around you, which has been measured by the guy who wrote The Golden Egg. I forget his name right now, but this is science, guys. So is it the same soul field and force field the same? Your force field surrounds you no matter what. If you have your heart activated, then you've got your soul field. Like I have my soul field. I'm not afraid. I'll fight anytime. I don't want to, but I'll fight any time. Just let me have my coffee first, and then it's on. But I don't want to. What's needed to time travel? Okay. Matt Groenig. When I grew up, I read School is Hell, Life is Hell, Work is Hell, and Something Else is Hell by Matt Groenig, who's the guy who made The Simpsons. The Simpsons predicts the future. This is well known that things happen on The Simpsons, like Donald Trump, who Kurt Cobain also prophesied would be president before he died in 1993 or 1994. It's when he said it. You can look it up. Kurt Cobain predicted Donald Trump was going to be president when his generation grew up. The millennials have a lot of growing up to do. What's needed to time travel? So what's my point about Matt Groenig is that he told the truth. Life is hell. School is teachers teaching facts that aren't true to students who don't care in most classes. English is the only class in math, not even math anymore with Common Core, but history is lies, it's all lies. Science is like kindergarten level all the way through high school. Unless you go to PhD science and then work for the military, you don't learn science. Or unless you study Tesla. So what's needed is the truth. So before I started time traveling, actually going into the future, I just was aware of it. It's pattern recognition. Like, how did I know that there was going to be fighting this summer? Because there was fighting last summer. How did I know there was going to be fighting last summer? Because the Mayan calendar said 2012. These guys who study astronomy and astrology said it was 5 years off. When I heard them say that, I knew they were right. And I said in 2017 that on October 20th something was going to happen, and I was done making predictions. And on that day, that craft showed up, which I photographed. 2 days later, you know what happened then. So the truth, it's about the truth. And, you know, she's over there flapping her arms at me because I say I time travel. She's like, how can you say that? You idiot. Make me look stupid. But, like, you guys know it's true, and so does she. So I don't care. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. You want to call me names? I've been insulted more than anyone you'll ever meet in your life. I love you.
I need Mama's phone. Daddy.
No, you sent her the copy yesterday.
Hello.
All right, intellectually.
Hello.
So she said, what's needed to time travel? Besides speaking the truth, even if your voice aches and even if it costs you your life, I said, well, describe me. And she said, well, you're soft-spoken, you're gentle, intellectual, talented, moody, and forgiving. Okay? So those, for me, those are all reflections of my desire for truth. Where I find God in truth. I'm always searching for God in truth. I find God in truth. Not political correctness, not in being intentionally abrasive. It's about the truth. So, speak the truth always. You want to time travel? Speak the truth. And if you're one of those people saying, oh, I knew that was going to happen, start making your predictions. Start putting your money where your mouth is. Put it on the line. I put it on the line. I've been making predictions for years. I had a friend who was an Army Ranger who kept track of my predictions for 2 years. Every day I predicted something was going to happen. It happened. And if you've known me long enough, you remember Dave Solomita. He's the guy who kept track of them. And on the day when I said I was done making predictions, that's when I time traveled. So, really, it's not about the future. It's about living in the now. The amount of time it takes light to reach your eyes, that's time that passes. Be faster than that. Be faster than that. And then you live in the now and you live in the future and everyone else lives in the past. I'm John George and I'm a genius.